Good, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First off, I just wanted to go ahead and thank you for coming to support the family. Now is the time to, if anybody has any memories that they would like to share, that would be the time to do so. If anybody wants to go ahead and come up, you can go ahead and do so.
Let's get the celebration started. I'll go first. I'm, as Mike called me, Mike's Pops. I'd like to thank all of you for being here. And there's really 4 profound groups of people that had a large influence on Mike's life. His Laredo family, his Brownsville family, his Army family, and the Pins and Q's family. But no family had more of a profound influence on Mike's life than his family, his wife and son Oliver. I want to share a couple stories that stand out in my mind as I met Mike when he was about 8, and we went on a fishing trip one time, he and his younger brother at the time, Tony, and all they could talk about on the way to South Padre Island was catching a dolphin fish. Hours ride over there, dolphin fish was all you heard about. So we're fishing on this huge boat, about 20 miles out from the coast. And all of a sudden you see fish jump out of water. Mike's like, a dolphin fish, a dolphin fish. And this fish just keeps jumping, and there's probably 30 people fishing on our side of the boat, and this fish just keeps jumping over all the lines. Gets supremely tangled up. I was like, Mike, he's on your line. Set the hook, set the hook. He sets the hook, and snap, the line broke. Mike had caught a dolphin fish and didn't know it. He can catch a lot of them now, and he'll recall every one. As time went on, Mike grew up and became quite the artist. As you could see by some of the photos where he had colored up his sisters' faces. But the one that stands out more than those is one night on Halloween, he made up my son Sam, and he dressed up himself and decorated the yard, and it was quite a deluxe Halloween scene. And my son Sam looked like a zombie, a really good dead zombie. And this guy pulls up, and he's just sitting there staring at the yard and all of the fixings Mike had done. And all of a sudden, my son Sam stands up, walks over to the guy's car, and scared the living daylights out of this guy. He started screaming and crying and carrying on. It was quite a character, Mike. Yeah. Kind of drew a blank here now. Anybody else want to come up and save me? You're welcome to.
First of all, actually, I wanted to hear the rest of the story, so if you do recall them, come back up here, please. Finish those off, because I love that fish story. But I do, I've met Mike before, and I was working in Olive Garden with Danielle. My wife was working there as well. It's the first time I got to see him. He looked a lot like you see him with the clean cut, look, no facial hair, no nothing, right? And that's the first time I saw him, quiet, right? But he was always kind of quiet, but yet there was always something else. And as now that I'm getting to know, I guess, a little bit more about him, there was always something else. I mean, from looking at the pictures, I never saw him cry. In any of the pictures, you don't see him sad. You don't see him cry. You see him happy. I didn't understand it because when I got the news, we're actually out playing disc golf, which is what I mainly do, but I fell into a bowling family when Jacob and Juan, invited me there to bowl a frame. Little did I know they were tricking me into something that I'm going to be doing now for over a year. Made a lot of other friends too. And I see the way Mike is with everybody. And it's not just me. It was anybody that came into the bowling alley. Made him feel welcome, took care of him. And he always had something. He had a quick response to so many things. I loved it because I'm a foodie as well, so I'd go up to him and I can still see him sitting at that table there between, where you check in and get your shoes and the bar. And I still see him there with his plate. I'm like, Mike, what are you eating today? He's like, oh. And he would always brag about one of the things that one of the cooks made or, one of the specialties that he had. And once again, there was always another thing. Like people would talk about from plates that he made to, as I said, just the way he took care of everything. And I know that right now he's going to be taking care of things. I know that he's not done. There's always something else. I still see him, so I'm still in disbelief. Even as I came walking up here and I actually see him, I'm like, what? I still don't understand. But maybe through conversations and maybe through getting to know everybody else that got to know him throughout his life, maybe there's always something else, The other way that I know him, when I first met him, I found out he was a soldier. I served as well, It was one of the things, so that's one of the things that first made me say, this guy's been through some stuff, because anybody who has gone through it they've been through some stuff. But he was always so happy. 2 days before he passed, he had announced my son's birthday. And he says how he came up to us, and as big as he is, stretched his arms around us all. And he goes, you guys are part of our family. He's going to be missed, but he's going to be there. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to everyone who is here with me today to celebrate Mike's life. My name is Jacob Perez, and I have the privilege of calling Mike Grier my friend. I was honored when Mike's wife asked me to speak tonight, but I'm also nervous about finding the right words to speak as a tribute to my friend. I'm reminded of a poem called The Dash by Linda Ellis. The dash refers to the dash between the person's date of birth and their date of their death on their tombstone. The dash represents the time that the person spent on earth and serves as a symbol for their life. The dash represents life itself, the life we spend on this planet. The dash represents all our highs and lows, all the hellos and goodbyes, and every moment we spend here while we're still alive. But most importantly, the dash represents the impact we have had on the people around us. What matters is how we live and love. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. I've known Mike for the past 4 years, but I can already see how he's made a huge impact on everyone who has the privilege to know him. As his coworker and friend, I was lucky enough to see this in his work every day. He was patient, intelligent, and funny. He greeted everyone with a smile. He had a way of making people feel comfortable and could make you laugh. He loved Halloween and decorating for the holiday. He had a way of scaring people with his frightening Halloween crackle. That's Mike's idea of a joke. He loved quoting Nacho Libre, and he calls me Ignacio. And I remember one time, every day at work, we would always quote Nacho Libres. The one thing I can never, ever get out of my head, and it still goes, is I'm singing at the party. That's his way of knowing that I would call him, text him. He had a great sense of humor, even at himself. He would remark that his bowling score was a tribute to him being a left-handed bowler, which he felt was a handicap according to him. Mike always tried to make people laugh. Even though Mike's death was sudden, his impact cannot be contained in his short lifetime. His memory will live on. I am so grateful to have known him. This is not goodbye. This is, we will see you again, my friend. I remember every night that Mike, we would close, and some of the bartenders will stay, we'll help out. And every night, he'll hide somewhere or grab the microphone. And I remember that it was about 3-4 bartenders stayed trying to finish cleaning up. And he'll grab the microphone, hide it somewhere where he cannot be seen, and he does a really loud cackle, and it'll scare everyone. I mean, it scared me a few times, but I will miss it. But there are times where he'll greet you with a smiley face, and we'll do some lines from a movie, or sometimes I always ask him, how's your kid? And he always tells me he hates it when I go to work. But he knows that deep down, he's doing it for him because he truly loves him. That's a memory I have of Mike, besides his Halloween cackle.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fabian Chavez. 3 years ago, I had the honor of working right under Mike. His death was very sudden, and like Jacob said, his impact cannot be contained. He made an impact on a lot of us, and I just have a few words I want to share. Like many of us here today, I got to know Mike through work, where he is undoubtedly the heart and soul of Pins and Q's. I know I speak for a lot of his colleagues when I say how very much he will be missed. Monster Mike was an amazing human, and I am humbled by the opportunity of describing the fullness of his heart and mind here today. One of the best things about having Mike as a colleague was that he was always prepared to give a hand, something that I'm very grateful for till today. Just having Mike around made you feel better, comfortable. Whatever challenge you had, he will help you solve it with a quick smile and ever-ready words of encouragement, even if they reference amazing movies. Albert Einstein said, "The value of a man should be seen in what he gives and not in what he's able to receive." And I feel Mike gave a lot more in his life through knowledge, through words, and through just small little tips, bowling tips, work ethic tips. Legacy is a very overused word these days. It seems that everyone and everything has to have one. But with Monster Mike, it's safe to say he has left one behind, which will affect the ways things are done and operated at Pins and Q's. On a personal level, every one of us who knew Mike and worked alongside him, whether things were going well or badly, will remember him with a great affection and a great heart. When all said is done, however much you like your work, it's the people that you meet in it that really matter, and the colleagues like Mike are something very special. You don't come across people like Mike very often. Monster Mike, we're really gonna miss you, bro. And touching on Jacob's point with his son, in November of 2019, which was when you became pregnant, that's when I had left Pins and Q's, and before I left, my last day, he told me that you were pregnant. I was so excited. It was something amazing. And then when Ollie was born, I saw pictures, and it's just like him. He's going to grow up to be a great person, just like his dad. Thank you, guys.
I guess we're all at a loss of words, 'cause this is very hard to believe. But he's the boy who changed my life. My firstborn. He made me a grandma, which made me very happy. And we share so many stories from when he was little. He was always close to me. And as he grew older, he always loved coming to see me and staying with his family. I remember when he told me that he had met a special girl. And I was very excited. I was scared when he said he wanted to join the reserves. But that was his dream, and we had to let him do that. So I helped him out, drove him from Brownsville to Weslaco so he could do that. Then when he announced that he was getting married, we were very excited. And when we learned that he was going to have a child, that just made us so much better. And everybody's right. Everywhere he went, he made people happy. Had such a positive attitude. There wasn't anything that got in the way. He will figure things out. And yes, he loved Halloween. That was his favorite holiday. As a matter of fact, he said that July 1st is Halloween season for him. So I'm gonna miss him terribly. But I know that he's around. Thank you all for coming.
Hi guys, thank you all for coming. I took my glasses off because I get stage fright, and if I can't see you, I think it'll be a little easier on me to talk. God, there's no words to really describe what he meant to me. I mean, when I say he was my best friend, I truly mean that. I could be myself in a way that I just couldn't be with everyone else. And no matter who I presented myself to him, he would always support me 100%. He loved every version of me, and I loved every version of him. I'm sure you all see with the pictures behind me the transformation that, well, we both went through over the 9 years that we were together. And I loved every version of that journey for both of us and how we grew together. I mean, we were supposed to grow old together, raise our son, have a couple more kids maybe, but physically he's not here, but I choose to believe that he's still here in some way. And we're not religious people, but I just refuse to believe that physically dying is the end for us. I don't think it is. And I see him every day in my son. He's got that quirky sense of humor that Mike was known for. Just a silly kid. Loves Halloween just like his dad. Everyone talks about, Halloween, his special effects. He would put on Halloween makeup just because when we were bored in the house during the pandemic. And when my son was about 3 months old, he put on a full face of makeup, full skeleton look, right? And got very close to my son, snuck up on him. Ooh. And my son just grins. No fear at all. That kid has no fear of anything. So, I mean, he's ready to go Halloween season. He's gonna love it. I remember, God, I have so many memories, but I don't want to. I could talk for hours. But I think the happiest one, obviously, is when I told him we were going to have my son. Because we wanted a kid so bad. And it, some people understand, you get the negative tests and you get sad. And, well, there's always next time. And on a whim, I took one day in November, just on a whim. And a positive blue plus sign came up. Oh my gosh. So I took the test, kind of tucked it in my side, and got out of the restroom, and he's in the room, laying down, resting, day off, I think. And I go to my mom, she was eating, mouthful of food, and I mouthed to her, "I'm pregnant." And my mom, So she got up to go, like, "Are you sure?" Yeah, I'm sure. And I mean, I wanted to plan this whole elaborate way to tell him. But in the moment, I was so excited. What should I do? Mom, should I go and plan something? What should I do? No, tell him. She was so excited. So, I mean, I ran to the room and I didn't know how to do it eloquently or just, So I just plopped myself on the bed and I said, "Hey, we're pregnant." And I mean, his face just went, and he dropped his phone and he just burst into tears. And we held on to each other for a long time. I didn't even think to record his reaction, one of those cute little reveals, but just burst into tears, so excited. And oh my gosh. When our son was born, he was the first one to hold him, first one to change him, first one to almost get peed on. And we're all exhausted. I had a very, very long labor. So we were exhausted, but he was so happy to hold our son. And God, I'll never forget it. He loves that little boy so much. And he told him every day, "Dada loves you so much." So Oliver never doubted that his dad loved him. And he never will, because I'm going to make sure I tell him as often as I can and show him videos as often as I can. and he's little right now. He's not even 2. But I can tell he misses him. There's just something missing in our home. And it won't be filled physically, but like I said, I just want to keep his memory going. And the memories that we have, which are plentiful, are going to make for amazing stories for Oliver. So I encourage everyone here to please hang on to your memories of him, share them with me, share them with each other, share them in any way, because those are the memories my son is going to want to hear from you all one day when he's 10 and you pass him somewhere, meet him in HEB. And if you want to tell him a story about his dad, I fully welcome it. God. Okay. I encourage anyone else who would like to share, please come on up. Any memory you have, any funny story. I've got tons, but again, I'd like to open the podium up to everybody. Thank you all for coming. Before I forget, his family, of course, for being here for me and for Ollie, and always going to be a family. My family for coming. His Pins and Q's family for coming, and his Army family for coming. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really feel the love, and I appreciate every single one of you for being here for us today. So again, podium's open for anybody. Thank you guys.
Hello, everyone. I'm stage fright as well. Yeah, I'm pretty much a man with not much of words, you know. I'm Sergeant First Class Eder, by the way. Mikey was one of my soldiers when he was still serving, and along with those knuckleheads over there. They were, I don't know, I can't, there's nothing really, you know, man, it's a big loss for him to go like this. He did have a big heart, you know, and we are all connected by him, and we're all a family, whether P's and Q's and Army and direct immediate family. We're all family. We're all here for him and for the family. But one of the things I can remember was that he never really told those guys, you know, he had you. Because if you can remember, like the Ninja Turtles, and then you had our sensei Boxley, and then those knuckleheads over there, you know. So he never really want to say about who's he's dating or he's with, and you know. But for some reason he was comfortable with me and letting me know who is like, hey, what are you gonna do after we get released? Like, I'm gonna go hang out with a friend. I'm like, well, I'm your friend. I mean, can I come too? Yeah. He's like, no, it's a girl. I was like, okay. Well, I mean, long story short, but you know, he loved you, and he was proud to tell me when, you know, you're having a baby and whatnot. And But you know, during our service, he was just, you can't really use the outstanding soldier speech on him or anything. He was just extraordinary, you know. That's one person I can say that never complained, or you tell him to do some of the things that just like rigorous to where it gets boring or tedious, and he'll just, Rogers aren't off on his way, you know. And he just, I don't know. I know those guys got stories to say and all that stuff too, but a lot of it too are kind of PG-13 in a way, you know. It's just field stuff. It's nothing that it's nothing that was just, it was more guys being guys, and you know. But those will be the stories that we'll be telling our campfire or something one of these days with Oliver, you know. But again, he never gave up. We would go on long marches. I can tell you one thing though, he had a hard time running, but this dude could rock march, like up hills and down hills, heavy packs. But you know, he starts running during rock march, all of his gear starts falling out too. So it just, but he had a good sense of humor and everything. He never, and he was also a mediocre as well too, where it's like a mediator. I meant everybody would be fighting or, you know, quarreling with each other. He would be there in between, kind of just trying to stop it, you know. But again, there's a lot of memories with him, and mostly field memories, but it's just, I don't know, he'll be missed. Yeah. All right, guys.
Hi everyone. As Sergeant First Class Editor said, we all fell under him. I was Mike's team leader. We all knew him as Castro, but one of the funny PG stories that I'll always remember about him was when they told me, "Hey, you got a new guy in your platoon, and he's gonna be assigned to you." And I said, "All right, you know, I'm always willing to take on anybody. New, it doesn't matter." I had already been there for a good while, so I knew some stuff. We were going to Fort Hood to go train with some live mortar rounds. And we were going to be up a couple of nights. I think 3 full days and 3 full nights we were going to be up, no sleep. And around that time, it came around where dusk fell, and we had to shoot some illumination rounds. And like Sergeant First Class Editor said, we had our sensei, Sergeant Boxley, there. And he came up to me, he goes, "Hey, Puente," he goes, "make sure those timers are correct on those illumination rounds. They're supposed to be set a certain way, so when they pop, you see a flare of the ball of light." He goes, "You don't want them too low because you'll burn the whole side of the mountain." I said, "Roger, Sergeant." So I go and I tell Castro, "Hey," or Mike, sorry. I tell him, "Hey, make sure you set the timer right. This is how you set it." I go, "because we don't want to burn half this field." Like always, he was like, "Roger, solid." That's what he would always say, that, solid, got it. Cool, so we start training, and everything, you know, when you're training with live rounds, in the infantry we have a saying is, we train like we fight. Everything is for real, because you never know. So everybody's talking, everybody's yelling and everything's going on. And our sensei, you know, Sergeant Boxley comes and grabs me and he says, "Hey, what's going on?" He goes, those flares are popping too low. I'm already getting calls that half the mountain's on fire in Fort Hood." So I kind of like freak out. Like, I'm checking all my gun lines, I'm checking all my guys, and I run over to Mike and I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Well, again, guys, it's when things are intense, you know, your mind tends to simplify things. You want to do things faster, so the simplest way to do it, right? So to turn the timer, you have to turn it all the way around, clockwise. For some odd reason, Mike thought it'd be faster to turn it this way, just once, where it has the time on there. So we see all of them popping in the sky, but then we see ours popping on the mountains, and we see the whole fire on the mountain. So we're like, "Oh, what do we do?" So Sergeant Box is, would always like to mess with us and scare us, and he's like, "I don't know." He's like, "You guys better hope those people got insurance." So I turn around and I look at Mike, and I'm like, "Dude, you're setting the whole mountain on fire." And he goes, "Okay, I'm sorry, I'll fix it." And never again, like Sergeant Eder said, never once did he complain, did he say, "Oh, it's not my fault." No, he said, "Roger, solid, I'll fix it." Sure enough, we got the timing right, everything went smooth. But after that, anytime we got on the radio, they would always say, "Hey, the name of that place is called Curry Mortar Complex." But we always knew it as, "Oh, where Castro burned half that mountain." So anytime we would give directions, they would ask you, "Hey, where y'all at?" And we would tell them, "Well, we're here at the Curry Mortar Complex." They're like, "Where's that at?" "Where Castro burned half the mountain." "Oh, okay." But yeah, I can't find myself to ever say goodbye to Mike, because us in the Army or in any branch, we never say goodbye. We always say, I'll see you later." So to Mike, I'll see you later, man.
How's it going? Sergeant TJ. Mike was one of the first people that I met when I joined the Guard. Big heart, all that good stuff, One memory that sticks out to me is that no matter how you talk to Mike or treat him, most of the time he's not going to disrespect you. He's very, caring, whatever. So, there's one time we get back from AT, and it was 12 o'clock at night. It was late, we're all frustrated, freaking sleep deprived, And I started mouthing off to some of our scouts in the mortar pool, because I just didn't like them, And so, as a mortar section, we're very small, maybe 10, 12 strong, complete. So we're pretty small. And these scouts have 20 or 30. They're usually the biggest platoon in our company. So I almost started a rumble. Mike comes up behind me. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. But for you, dude, I'll beat some fucking ass, dude." I was like, "Mike, fucking right on, dude. Hell yeah, man. That's the way to go." Yeah. And besides that, too, when every time we're going to work with our mortar systems, he'd always come up to me and be like, "TJ, you ready?" I'm like, "No, dude, I'm not in the mood. I'm tired." He'd be like, "Well, you gotta cradle the base plate and stroke the shaft." I'm just like, "Bro, no, I don't wanna." But yeah, man, fucking freaking, he's gonna be missed big time, Super random when this happened. My buddy Reyes, he called me. I was actually at work. I was on night shift, and he called me. He's like, "Dude, freaking Mike passed." And I was like, "What, Mike?" This is the last one that I expected. It's like, "Mikey, bro." I'm like, "Dude, shut up. Stop." But yeah, super random, but he will be missed. We all love him. And it's like how Puente said, it's a see you later type of thing, So, but he'll live on through his son, beautiful son, beautiful wife. So, I know our old sensei, Boxley, he did ask me to ask you if it's all right whenever he comes down in a few months, if we can get together with you and your son and all of his old platoon and talk about memories about him. So, yeah, that way your son can hear the more PG-13 stuff, right? But because the stories don't end. But yeah. But besides that, coming from us, I know from his platoon, we'll always be here for you, for your son. Whenever y'all need things, reach out to us. I mean, we're off in the valley, so yeah, we'll be here.
Hello, my name is Christian, or as Mike knew me when I first met him, Reyes. Had the pleasure of meeting him when I first joined the Guard, and now Sergeant First Class Ortega. He told me to go with Castro. He's gonna show you around the armory. He knows his things. If you have any questions, just ask him. And at first, I thought he was going to be a specialist, but he sends me with a private first class, and it was weird to me since he was in charge of the mortars if Sergeant Ortega wasn't there, and it was just weird because I just had come out of basic training, and usually the highest ranking is the one in charge, but you had specialists that fell under him, and it was weird. And I do remember the one thing that he always did was he would always carry a TM about the mortars, and I talked to him, and I asked him if he could help me get a job, and that's when he presented me to the Pins and Q's family, and he helped me get my job there. And I love working with him. He was always fun working with. I remember he was the first one to tell me that when I was working the night shift for Pins and Q's about closing, he was the one that told me, oh yeah, be careful at the back lanes. There's a little girl. A ghost. Yeah. I didn't know, so for like the first week I was kind of scared to go back there, turn off the lights. So yeah, but yeah, he will be missed. I would always go to Pins and Q's to visit him. So this last Sunday when they did the charity event for him, it was weird walking in there and not seeing him in the front desk. Very weird. But yeah, he will be missed. Thank you.
started walking up here and I got nervous. Excuse me. I didn't know Mike very closely, like a lot of you have, but he was our family. He is my aunt's husband, and that makes him my uncle. And he has, I just want to say that I may not know him on that personal level that a lot of you do, but I do know that he is nothing but encouraging, because the times that I have spoken to Mike, he did nothing but encourage me and my brother and my sister and my other brother to just follow their dreams and just do anything that you want to do. And he always had an answer to it. He was just really smart. He had unlimited creativity with what he can do artistically, and most importantly, he believed in you. Not like this fake, like, hey, you can do it. But like, actually, when he spoke to you and you told him the issue, he listened entirely and nothing else was important except that conversation you were having. And he will be missed. The one thing that I do know about Mike, other than that, is that he loved his family. I would go over there occasionally when I visit my dad to go see my grandma, Danny, Mike, and the baby. And anytime he was there, first off, I always saw that he was working. But any other time that he's there, he just loved playing with his kid. And he would just, nothing ever seemed like an issue or a hassle. He was just always happy to be there for his family. And I saw it, that he loved Danny and he loved his baby. And he loved his other family, the ones that aren't even related to him, like me as his aunt, or not his aunt, but his niece, nephew? I don't remember. But he made us feel like we belong. And I know that I can speak for my brothers and sisters when I say that. And I know I can speak for a lot of people that Mike made you feel like you had a place here. And you will be missed. I wish I talked to you more.
Hi. I'm Mike's youngest sister. I don't really know what to say, but I know he would be proud of me for standing up here and being able to speak about his life. All I can remember is how happy I was whenever he came down to visit. All the crazy things we would do, and I know he has a lot of stories that are embarrassing of me. If you know, you know, front row. I'll never forget how he would persuade me to, you know, I was super tiny, give him massages and, you know, walk all over his back. I remember being so young and bragging about how my brother Ken ordered me things off of infomercials. You know, my big brother, he's 18. He can order me this hair bead thing, even though I never really asked him. I always had a way of persuading him to buy me food. And I know he loved me a lot, and he loved his family. One thing I'll always remember is how nice he was. There was a few times where, me being dramatic, I would call him, crying, asking for advice, and him and Danny were always so welcoming to my calls, always so encouraging, how all of you have talked about. And it's hard to think that, you know, my biggest brother won't be here to encourage me, but I know he's always there with me. I admire how loving he was. He was always willing to help in any way possible. And seeing him with Ollie is really inspiring, and I just hope that I'll be able to be as loving and caring as he was. Thank you, guys.